Hey everyone, welcome to yet another tutorial. This time we're covering actions while moving, which for us, when we're kind of like used to running the game and playing this game a lot, we're kind of used to being able to just like do things, but I've kind of noticed we haven't really explained how exactly we can do things, we can go about things. So let me just kind of run you through the basics. And just start with the Bidoof here. Because at the start of the game, we don't really have our right Pokemon yet. So all we can do is sprint, not sprint, roll once that it's unlocked. And that's our tools to start with. And we usually only really catch these. So what I can do when I see a Bidoof here, I can run up to the Bidoof, I can throw a Pokeball, and if I do so, you see how that slows me down and it puts me out of the sprint. We can kind of combat that slow moment by rolling. So if I throw and then roll, you see how we manage to have a greater distance covered, and we can then also time a sprint to be able to sprint away from that action. Before that, we had to like wait for that animation to finish. And while that animation finishes, we had traveled less distance, and that's how we can cover more distance. So if I go over to the Starly over here, oh, I ran out of sprint. That's unfortunate. We're gonna take this Starly. You see how we were able to cover so much more distance in that initial moment of throwing the ball. So that's essentially the biggest action we can do while we're moving about, doing things. Another thing is the same with the trees here, really, where while we're throwing out, like our Arceus here, we can, after we throw the ball, while that animation's going on, we can get that roll out to be able to propel ourselves a bit forwards and cover more distance. And that's the initial set of a movement we can really do. If you can try to unsprint before you do, so you don't run out of sprint. It's all covered in that kind of like basics around the sprint mechanic. If you watch that video, you'll know what I mean. And that is the basics we can do without a ride. With the ride, it becomes a little bit simpler. So let's say we're gonna go for the Shinx here. I'm gonna go around since it's an aggressive Pokemon. We're gonna dismount and we can immediately press the plus button to be able to go back on our ride, on our way at full speed to our next target. So we just want to really practice this movement of getting off the ride, getting on the ride. So you gotta like, gotta know your intent before you dismount the ride. So you saw like how quickly I'm back on the ride again, because I knew that all I wanted to do is when I press the plus button, I want to target and I want to throw a ball, and that's all my actions. And that's all I want to do. Everything else, like which ball we use, which item we are going to pick, all of that, sort that out while you're on the ride, while you're running full speed with the ride, since that's your fastest movement speed anyway. And that is what you need to keep in mind if you want to go fast. Another thing to keep in mind is, of course, with a shaking tree, this will block you from going fast because this will initiate a battle. Keep that in mind. That can throw you off sometimes. Just don't be too discouraged by that. If you miss a shake, you see how this interval is like, you have this pause there. If you happen to just quickly glance at it, we have that happen all the time with shaking ores. Where like, you see how quickly I glance at that, like this back there, if I would have glanced at it any shorter, I wouldn't have noticed the shaking of the black ore. That can put us off sometimes, and maybe sometimes we get lucky and the battle fails to initiate, but most of the time a battle will initiate, will be too far away to actually battle. So we go into the battle and then get kicked out for being too far away. But yeah, if you're going a bit too fast, you might be able to like miss a shake. Like I quickly glance at this, and like if I go quickly there, you see how I've missed a shake multiple times there. that can happen when going fast, so just be okay with it. But if I want to loot the tree, for example, I immediately get myself ready to mount again the moment I can. You see how there's like a small moment. You can try to spam if you want, but I would be wanting to be ready to already hold B to be able to sprint again, and that might be a bit difficult if you spam the plus button. And also there's a chance that I've actually done it multiple times. I'm trying to replicate it here, where I've been able to dive and cancel the throw essentially. Let me try to replicate that. It's really hard to do. Exactly this, where I've not been able to let go of the R button because what the controller I'm using is has some sort of like analog like button. It's just my go-to turbo controller. But essentially, I'm still on the button and I press dive already. That's gonna cancel your ability to throw the ball. And that might ruin your flow a little bit because you have to reattempt throwing the ball, and yeah, it's gonna be annoying. But just don't get discouraged by that. Really practice this movement. This is where you can gain or lose a lot of time. So please practice just managing to unload your moves as quickly as you can. So you're able to just do this and immediately go on. If you really want to care for a catch to go in, nice Alpha Eevee back here. I might just catch that. We can actually see the differences here. So if you watch the ball, you see this short hop, move on. That Pokemon is caught. There's no way to fail unless you enter a battle or you warp away. As long as you don't interrupt the actual catching sequence. So like if you're catching a Pokemon and you enter a battle, through whatever means, you will fail the Pokemon catch, regardless of it being guaranteed or not. So please wait for a catch to be done before you do anything else that will interrupt the catch. Keep that in mind while going fast, and yeah, please practice the movement. This is very, very important to move along very quickly. So yeah, hope you find this tutorial insightful. It is one of the most important actions when it comes to speedrunning this game. Oh, there goes the ponytail. It's raining. I forgot that they change when it rains. But yeah, that's the very important thing. And happy speedrunning.